Namaste to all. A very beautiful knowledge from Srimad Bhagavad Gita about Samadhist Yogi. Who is a Samadhist Yogi? How do we identify, or what are his essential qualities? Arjuna is asking, Sthita Dihi Kim Prabhashet, Kim Asit, Kim Brajet. He is asking Krishna Maharaj, please tell me that a yogi, you say a yogi, Sthita Dihi, his mind and intellect is firmly established in Almighty God. Such a person, Kim Prabhashet, how he will talk. Such a person, Kim Asit, how he will sit. Such a person, Kim Vrajet, how he will walk. Or, Arjuna is interested to know what are his daily activities. How does he talk? How does he walk? How does he sit? How does he sleep? How does he eat? Etc. 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 So Sri Krishna replies to Arjuna very beautifully in 2 shlokas, really beautiful shlokas. And if we understand this shloka in depth, these 2 shlokas, we can clearly understand who is duplicate, who is self-made or self-styled godman, and who is a real yogi, who is a real tapasvi. Sri Krishna says, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partah manogatan. Arjuna, you are thinking that a yogi will behave something very differently, a yogi will act something differently, etc. It's not like that. The difference between a yogi and a normal person is very simple. Sarvan kaman manogatan prajahati. That yogi, prajahati means totally destroyed. What is destroyed in that yogi totally is sarvan kaman manogatan. The kamana, the icha, the desires, what is emanating inside the mind. See, mind is the culprit. Mind is the root cause of everything. Whether it is sensuality or anger or ego or pride or various kind of desires, it originates in the mind. Of course, mind is a non-alive matter. Mind cannot do any of its work by its own. Mind derives power from the Jivatma. So mind has all this kaman, all this icha, all these desires. And the Jivatma thinks that, okay, it is mind. Today, whatever activities we do from morning to evening, we act as per our mind only. We do not act as per ourselves, that is Jivatma. Because we do not know what is Jivatma. We do not know how to control our mind. But a yogi, on the other hand, is sarvan kaman manogatan. He does not have any other desires. All the desires of that yogi is burnt, well burnt. Prajahati. Even, my Acharya beautifully describes what is the definition of Vedas. My Acharya says, based on Kapil Muni's Sankhya Shastra, Anichitvani. Vedas are undesired knowledge. It's not a desired knowledge of the yogi. The yogi does not have any desire to tell you the knowledge of Vedas. Even he does not desire to speak the knowledge to you. And it is an undesired knowledge. That means the yogi does not speak that knowledge. It is Almighty God's power which is emanating, which is taking out that knowledge from inside a yogi. That is called as Vedas. The definition of Vedas itself is the knowledge which emanates from Almighty God through the mouth of the yogi. And that knowledge is undesired. It is not desired by that yogi. So yogi does not have any other desires. Why? Sri Krishna further clarifies why. Why so? Because Atmaneva Atmani Tushtaha. Tushtaha means santushta, satisfied. That yogi, that Samadhist Purush is satisfied in his own Atma. He does not derive any benefit or any kind of pleasure from outside world. He is ever satisfied within himself because he has found himself. He has known himself. He has found Almighty God within himself. My Acharya says when somebody attains a Samadhi, he not only realizes himself, he realizes the Almighty God also within himself. So Atmaneva Atmani Tushtaha. Because of this satisfaction, he is eternally satisfied within himself. That is why he does not have any other desire. He does not have any desire. Of course, when we see YouTube, when we see many other, so-called self-declared sadhu, saints, etc., they behave as if that they don't have any desires. How do we identify further? Further is beautifully described by Sri Krishna in the next shloka. In the next shloka, further Sri Krishna says, Arjuna, please understand, Dukheshu Anuvigna Manaha. Sri Krishna says, see, when there is a pain, when there is a loss, when there is some misery, when something happens to that yogi, dukkha, that yogi does not feel sadness inside him. You can act, you can put a drama externally that I am not sad, but obviously you are sad within yourself. That is known to Almighty God and yourself if you are acting. But here Sri Krishna says a definition that yogi also gets dukh. That means yogi is having a sharir, that sometimes it may happen that he gets diseases. Sometimes it may happen that somebody is giving him pains, somebody is giving him miseries, because when a yogi lives in the city, when the yogi lives amongst the public, amongst his disciples, the disciple will give the yogi pain or misery, etc. In that case also, the yogi does not feel the pain. He will not feel sadness. He will not feel the miseryness, etc., etc. This is one of the definition. Further, Sri Krishna says that when somebody gives him pleasure, he does not have the desire to enjoy that pleasure. And further, why? Because Munehe, because he is a learned philosopher of Vedas. If you read the meaning of Muni in the Bhagavad Gita as it is, or in Swami Mukundananda book, etc., they would have mentioned Muni means a sage. Muni does not mean a normal sage. Muni means Vedon ko manan karne wala, one who deeply understands and deeply involves himself inside the Vedas, one who is ever thinking about Vedas. In his tapasya, he always, is totally entangled in the Vedic knowledge, is in the divine bliss of Vedas. That person is called as Muni. Because he is a Muni, he does not feel sadness due to dukkha. Because he is a Muni, he does not feel ichcha to, or he does not have desire. If some pleasure is coming to him, he does not, somebody is giving one disciple is preparing a very beautiful dish, very, very tasty food, and then serving to that yogi. It's very tasty. Of course, he will enjoy the food, but he does not have the desire to enjoy the food. And further, why? Because he is a Muni, he is a tapasvi, he is always indulged in the tapasya. And further, Sri Krishna says, Vitaraga Bhaya Krodha. Vitaraga Bhaya Krodha. That means he does not have Bhaya. He does not have fear of anything. That the yogi does not have fear of anything because he has known himself. That yogi does not have fear of even death because he knows what is death. He knows who dies, he knows who does not die. He knows himself that he is Jivatma and never dies. He knows that his body is non-alive, it will anyway die. So he does not have any fear. He does not have fear of losing money. He does not have fear of losing kingdom. He does not have any fear whatsoever. And further, raga, vitaraga, he does not have rag. Rag means, like when you eat a cake, when you eat ice cream, when you eat rasagulla, when you eat anything, or when you have a sensual pleasure, what happens is, again and again, the mind will tell you to enjoy that pleasure. That is called as raga. Raga, dvesh we say, right? So that yogi does not have rag, that yogi does not have bhaya, fear, and further that yogi does not have vitaraga, krodha. He does not have krodha, he does not get angry. He never gets angry on anybody because he does not expect anything from anyone. Sri Krishna in Gita says that you are getting anger because of your expectations on others. So yogi does not have any expectation on others. So he does not get anger. But there is one type of krodha in yogis. What is that? Manyu Rasi, Manyu Maidehi. The Veda says that Almighty God, you get krodha to punish the sinners so that they can become good people. Similarly, yogi prays to Almighty God, please give me that krodha so that I can also punish my disciples who are sinful people. If they do any sins, I want to punish them. So give me that krodha. Otherwise, a yogi does not have any krodha. He does not have raga, he does not have dvesha, he does not have fear, he does not have krodha, anger. And because he is a Muni, because he has controlled his senses by Veda Adhyayan, he has controlled his senses and perceptions by Ashtanga Yoga Tapasya, and this is the definition of a real yogi. So if somebody is not a Muni, if somebody is not a Vedic philosopher, in the YouTube we see so many self-styled gurus, then definitely he is doing acting only. If somebody is not a Ashtanga Yogi, people teach Hatha Yoga, but people does not teach Ashtanga Yoga. They do not know even that Hatha Yoga is against Almighty God. Hatha Yoga is against Ashtanga Yoga philosophy. Hatha Yoga is against Vedas. They do not know even that. So this is the difference between a normal, person, a normal self-styled godman, self-styled yogi, and a real yogi. This two shlokas beautifully explains. And my Acharya always says that, my Acharya used to say this knowledge that, if I was, my Acharya was in, jungle after Samadhi. If I was staying in jungle, none of you would have reached to me. And I would have been in my, own bliss. And when he explained this shloka of Sri Krishna, he told that, unfortunately, because of my guru's agya, I have come in amidst you. And you guys are my disciples now. And, what I expect, although yogi does not have expectation, I expect only one thing: do not disturb me. Do not disturb my tapasya. I want to be in my own bliss. Of course, I come to you for yajna. I give you knowledge of Vedas, and that is given by Almighty God. He inspires me to speak. I speak. That's it. But do not disturb me. So we must always ensure that when we go to a yogi who is a real yogi defined in this shloka, we must not disturb him unnecessarily. Like, going to him and talking about our personal issues. But okay, if you have personal issues, he will anyway take care of that because he is your Acharya. If you have personal issues, you anyway do everyday tapasya, you are doing Agnihotra, Almighty God is listening to you, and you have a yogi in your life, then it will be automatically taken care. But we should not try to disturb to a yogi to speak about materialism. If you have a spiritual doubt, if you have a doubt on Vedas, yes, you can of course go and talk to him. But otherwise, we should never disturb a real yogi because Atmanyeva Atmani Tushtaha. He is ever satisfied within himself. Why we should go and poke him? So this we must very clearly understand. So these two shlokas are extremely important for us to understand who is a real yogi, who is a duplicate yogi or a duplicate tapasvi, who poses himself to be a yogi. Thank you so much. Namaste. Om.